When the month of Elul arrives, that word, Elul itself, arouses a lot of feelings. Someone told me today that the real name is not Elul, it's Lul. But it went to Iran, this name, and in Iran it said Elul. Like a street, like the person say Estrit, they say Elul. Anyways, but it evokes a lot of feelings, all kinds of feelings in people. And a lot of people, when this time period comes, they just wish it was over. They wish it could finally be after Yom Kippur, after it's all over. And they're very uncomfortable and they're very anxious from this time period. Another thing is that every year we make good resolutions, and unfortunately most of the time the resolutions don't actually happen the way that we would like them to happen. And so what ends up happening is that there's this sense of anxiety. This time period comes because you're looking at, you're very, very introspective, and you're thinking about your mistakes, and it's not the first time you thought about your mistakes, and you know it's not the first time, and you seem to be going into this cycle like a hamster in a wheel, and the question is that what Elul is really meant to be? Can the real Elul please stand up? Is that where it's supposed to go? I mean, it doesn't seem that Hashem gave us this month to punish us. It seems that there's something good that Hashem wants to give us with this month, and that we can actually go somewhere with the blessing that Hashem gives us in this month. And the question is how to approach it. So I want to analyze this from the perspective of this week's Torah portion, based upon a teaching of the Arizal. This week's Torah portion talks about the cities of refuge. If someone killed someone else by accident, the Torah says that he's not given the death penalty. Instead, he goes off to the cities of refuge, and there is a law that a relative of the deceased can avenge his blood. So he's not safe, not being in the city of refuge. So he's allowed to escape the city of refuge, and there in the city of refuge he is protected. The Jewish court was commanded to make very wide roads, twice the size of a regular road, to get to the cities of refuge. The Jewish court was appointed to administer funding for the fugitive murderer or accidental murderer. They had to provide him a place to stay. They had to provide food for him. And this was what the Jewish court would give. And they had to put signs up, make sure it was very clear where the cities of refuge were. And it doesn't only have to do with someone who killed someone else by accident. And the proof of this is the Torah, the halacha is that even if you didn't kill, even that can avenge his blood. Let's say the person who kills no relatives. The halacha is that you still have to run away to the city of refuge. The city of refuge is clearly something more than just protection from the attack of the avenger. There's no avenger. There's no one around. And yet the Torah says that you have to go to the city of refuge. And the Torah considers this to be a really important to go to the city of refuge. The Torah says that even if you're the general of the Jewish people, you are Avner, ben Ner, you are the general of the Jewish people, or you see someone drowning outside the city of refuge, you're not allowed to leave the city of refuge. You have to be in that city. There's something that's so critical to be in that city. You see someone drowning. Usually we say that the words of the Torah are pushed aside for the sake of someone's life being in danger. However, if you're sent to the city of refuge, you cannot leave the city of refuge. Even if someone's drowning, even if you're the general, so there's clearly something more about the city of refuge than just protection from. Right. So the question is, what's the meaning of this? What does it mean? So there's a beautiful teaching from the Shem Shmuel. He says this: when someone kills someone by accident, or someone makes any other kind of mistake, they're losing a part of their life. They lost a part of their life. So what do you do when you lost a part of your life? So the Torah says, because he himself has lost part of his life, because he made this mistake. Because that Arizal says that even though he killed him by accident, but the fact that it happened through him means there's something in him which isn't so innocent. Because accidents are a result of the animal soul being dominant in our life, and so there's something that he's missing.
But doesn't Hashem make that decision? whether someone lives or dies, even if it's manslaughter?
So the Gemara says, "Megalgun skusa de zake megalgun chayve de chay," which means Hashem gives the meritorious the right to do meritorious acts, and those who are culpable, they are brought to be do something which is negative. In other words, so the fact that this person passed away was clearly the will of Hashem, yes, but the fact that he did this, and God has many messengers. The reason why this happened through him is because there's something missing inside of him. So by going to the city of refuge, it's supposed to rectify this. What does the city of refuge have that's supposed to rectify this? The city of refuge was the city of the Levites. The Levites,
Yes.
Levites, like the Kohanim, have no share in the land of Israel. Why don't they have a share in the land of Israel? Because they're meant to be holy, special people. They're dedicated only to the service of Hashem, and they're not at all into the physical world. They're only about the service of Hashem. That's what their lives are meant to be about. That's who they are really. The Levites, the Leviim, the Kohanim, and the Leviim are also singers. Levites would sing them in the Beis Hamikdash, and they play instruments.
Yeah.
So this guy, he has made a mistake, and he's going down a negative path. So the Torah says he needs to be brought more life into his life, and therefore let him go to the city of the Levites. Let him go hang out with the holy people, and they'll bring more life into his life. They'll be able to revive him by him being there, that special environment, by him serving Hashem with Torah and happiness. That's how he'll be elevated. So instead of him beating himself up and tormenting himself the rest of his life, the Torah says, you know how he gets atonement? It's atonement by going to a beautiful city where everyone is going to love him and encourage him and bring him joy, and that's who has atonement. And this is very pertinent to this month of Elul. If there's something missing in your life, there's life missing from your life, meaning there's some spirituality that's deficient, because every mistake is sort of like an act of murder. Why is it like act of murder? Because a mistake is a result of you taking a godly energy and using it in the wrong place. What's a mistake mean? You're a neshama, you're a Jew, and you have the power to do good things, and instead you decide to use something good for your good energy, your good time, your good resources, and use it for the wrong thing. So it's sort of like spilling blood. You spilled energy in the wrong place. So who is the avenger? The avenger is the evil inclination. The evil inclination says, oh, you made a mistake, let me bring you all the way down. He takes that little mistake you've made, and he wants to completely body slam you and knock you out because of that mistake. How does he do that? He says to you, as many people do during the month of Elul, they say to themselves, what mistakes have I made in my life? And they go into the mirror and they go through all the mistakes they made. I know the source of this story, but there was a grandfather talking to his grandson about the garden that they were observing. Look at this beautiful garden. And they noticed in the beautiful garden there are these weeds. So grandson asks grandfather, I see there's beautiful flowers, and I see there's also a lot of weeds. Who's going to win? Are the weeds going to win, or the flowers going to win? So grandfather answer. What's the answer to the answer? Grandfather says, whoever you feed more. Whoever is fed more, those are the ones who are going to win. So in a similar way, if you think about all the mistakes that you've made, you're going to just breed more of the same. Think about the good things that you've done. You think about instead of thinking about all the mistakes, thinking about the good things you've achieved today, good things you achieved yesterday, and that builds you up, that elevates you. That's what causes atonement. Cause atonement is you're being empowered to go forward. By you feeling that you're unable to serve Hashem and you're unworthy, that's dangerous. There's nothing wrong with making more mistakes, because you're unhinged. You're not unhinged intellectually, but you feel it doesn't matter because you're just not you're not deserving of Hashem's mission for you. So the 6 cities of refuge that the Torah says that they had to create for these people who killed by accident are correspondent to the 6 words of the Shema. The 6 words of the Shema: Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. The guy killed someone by accident. The Torah says, you know what the antidote for this guy is? He needs to be more imbued with the words of Shema. He needs to be more imbued with the sense of divine providence. So the month of Elul, which is compared to the city of refuge, compared to the Torah, the Torah is called a place of refuge, is a time when Hashem tells us to be elevated, to leave where we were before, and to think instead about who we really are, what we're really capable of being. To scuba dive into the good things, in kindness and Torah and prayer. Put ourselves into the good, wonderful environment of Torah and prayer and kindness. That's what Hashem tells us about, that I'll leave the physical, earthy stuff behind and immerse yourself in things which you really believe in. Get into the wonderful things. Hashem's not telling you go think about the terrible things. So there's a teaching in the Baal Shem Tov. Sur meira v'asei tov. Turn away from evil and do good. The Baal Shem Tov says, don't think about the evil. Sur meira doesn't mean people can think the first step is let me figure out my mistakes. Then I'll figure out the good things in it I need to do. Baal Shem Tov says, no. Sur meira v'asei tov really means don't turn away from the evil that you're doing and instead of focus on the good that you're doing. That's how you build yourself up. This is why when someone was exiled to the cities of refuge, who had to go there with him? The teacher. If someone went to the city of refuge and he needed a Torah teacher, what would they do? They would send his teacher to go to the city of refuge with him. Why? Because the whole point of going to the city of refuge was to elevate him and to inspire him, to lift him to a different place. Is there another extra burger? This one's extra?
It's for the lady outside.
Yeah,
Great.
That's for her.
Okay.
Wait.
This explains something else. What do you think would make Moses sing? Well, what's something that would make Moses so happy they would start singing this song? You know, when you have something good happen to you, it's like, wow, they start singing, right? Some people do. Some people, something really good has to happen for them to start singing. Like Alek Yisrael, doesn't matter, just the sunshine is already going to sing a niggun. But some people need something really amazing to happen to them to sing a song. What do you think would happen to Moshe Rabbeinu, make Moshe want to sing a song? What would make Moshe so excited he wanted to sing a song? In this week's Torah portion, it says, then Moshe set aside 3 cities. The truth is that Moshe's cities that he set aside for cities of refuge didn't work. They only worked once the Jewish people arrived in Israel. But what does that sound like? Az Hivdil Moshe. What does that sound like? Az Hivdil Moshe. What does that remind you of? Az Yashir. Az Yashir. So the Medrash says, when Moshe Rabbeinu heard that God is giving away for someone killed someone by accident to be elevated, to be fixed, to rectify his mistake, Moshe Rabbeinu was so encouraged that Moshe sang a song. Oh, Moshe sang a song. His cities that he set aside didn't work physically. They didn't work physically, but he was saying, but Moshe Rabbeinu said, I have a mitzvah, I came to my hands, I want to do the mitzvah, I came to my hands. In other words, Moshe Rabbeinu was so excited about this. He sang a song and said, I want to, it's not just about the actual city of refuge. It really tells us about the whole meaning of our connection to Hashem. Our connection to Hashem is not limited. And that's what the theme of the month of Elul is, the king in the field. That no matter what's happened, Hashem tells you, it doesn't matter. It's a month of Elul. He can accept you with a beautiful, shining, smiling face, no matter where you are, no matter what's happened. So this is what Hashem is telling us by giving us these cities of refuge. He's telling us that Moshe Rabbeinu was so happy about this because Moshe Rabbeinu knew how regretful someone is when they kill someone by accident. Now, someone who actually killed someone by accident. This woman who was backing up her car and she accidentally killed someone, a little child. And the mother, the child who was killed, she first was so angry. Who did this? But when she heard who did it, she said, "Oh my gosh, is she okay?" Because she knew, she knew that obviously she knew do it on purpose, and she knew how regretful she would be. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu knew as well, and that's why he sang a song. Wow, Hashem has given a chance, even someone who's killed someone by accident. And this is what Hashem wants us to focus on this month. He wants us to think about how. Let me tell you a story. There was this Jew who he was head of a yeshiva, passed away, and his children were visited by this head of another yeshiva from America. They were in Israel. And he comes to visit them during their shiva. He comes during the shiva and tells them the following thing. He says, "I'm going to tell you a story about your father you probably haven't heard. That your father, he was working as a school teacher in another yeshiva when he was younger. And in this yeshiva, there was a dormitory. And your father's job was to wake up everybody who had overslept. So he would do it very kindly and very gently. But one time, he woke up this boy, and the boy got so angry at him, he got up and he slapped him. Like right out of his bed, it gets up and slaps him across the face. So the head of the yeshiva says, this guy is no longer welcome here. If we do something, they have to give a message to the students that this is unacceptable. We have to eject this guy from the yeshiva. And your father said, if you eject him, you're going to eject me also. I'm going to leave the yeshiva immediately. I'm not going to stay here. He said, why are you saying that? He said, I know who this boy is. I know he didn't mean it. I know he was just in the moment. He had this moment of rage. Doesn't define him. You have to let him stay. Otherwise, I'm leaving too. So the head of the yeshiva says, well, we can't just let this go by. What should we do instead? So listen what he says. This guy gets slapped. He says, when this boy needs some more attention, I'm going to study with him every day for 2 hours the works of Musar and ethics, and that's what he needs. He needs someone to spend time with him. So imagine, this Rosh Hashiva, he concluded the story, he says, I'm the boy. That was me. And that's really what Hashem tells us in this month. You think you messed it all up. What do you need? What do you need? If you messed it up, what do you need? You messed it up, you need to be encouraged. You need to be brought more simcha. You need to. That's what Hashem gives us in this month through the king of the field. There was a Jew came once. I'm sure you heard the story before. It's worth repeating. This Jew comes to Rabbi Ferris. He tells Rabbi Ferris from Berkeley. He says, at one point in my life, I was very upset and depressed, and decided I'm going to commit suicide. I wanted to commit suicide in a place that I was last happy. What was my last happy place? School. Last happy place was in school. So I decided to go hang myself on a tree in the middle of the school. Actually, no, it wasn't a tree in the school. It was going to hang myself on something in the school.
Swing set.
The swing set, I think, yeah. And but then he's thinking, if I hang myself on the swing set, then the kid's going to come on Monday morning. The police may not arrive, and they'll be traumatized seeing this dead body hanging there. So I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go next to the school. Next to the school is a tree, and I'll hang myself on the tree. It's a Friday evening. Comes out of the school, and he sets up his thick rope to hang himself, and all of a sudden he notices across the street from this tree there is this home where there's these Hasidic Jews there, and they're singing songs, and they're happy, and it's full of light and warmth, and it's like, wow, there's more to life. There's more to life than what I'm going through. I'm not going to kill myself. That's what he said. Rabbi Ferris, we all know Rabbi Ferris. Rabbi Ferris is very straight. So what was the address of that house? This and this. He's like, yeah. I was the only one who knows the story. How do you know? He says, that's because it's my house.
What house?
It's his own house. Rabbi Ferris' own house. Yeah. Every Friday night, he says, if in Berkeley is not like a place like in LA where you just open your house and maybe some Jewish guy is going to go by and hear you singing. It's Berkeley. It's middle of, and he opens his house, and his street is not a very busy street. But I don't want that joy and the happiness master to stay inside my house. So every Friday night, I want to spread. So he opens his shutters and windows, and he sings and to spread the light out. And that's why this guy is alive today, because of that. So in a similar way, there are many fathers and many uncles and brothers and friends that can be different. That could be different. It's not just if you take this message to heart. It's not just that you're going to be elevated yourself. You elevate people around you. You live a new kind of life. This perspective of thinking about, instead of thinking about all the mistakes, but thinking instead about the good that you're doing and who you are and what you have and your connection to Hashem and the kings in the field. You lift yourself up and you lift up everyone around you. So l'chaim, we should take this special opportunity Hashem is giving us, King in the Field, and we should new beginning. L'chaim v'racha. Any questions?